The Galactic Invitation. Zach Ryder had always considered himself an ordinary guy. Working at a coffee shop in Seattle, his days were filled with the mundane rhythm of grinding beans and frothing milk. Yet, as he wiped down the espresso machine that evening, a strange sensation tingled at the back of his mind, a feeling that something extraordinary was about to happen. The clock on the wall ticked painfully slow, the last customer having left just minutes ago. Zach sighed, tossing the damp rag aside, the weariness of the day settling heavily on his shoulders. Another thrilling day in paradise, he muttered under his breath, untying his apron. The neon closed sign flickered to life, casting a soft glow over the empty shop. It was a quiet night, one that called for a peaceful walk in the park to clear his head. As he meandered down the winding path, hands stuffed deep in his pockets, he took in the damp, cool air. The streetlights cast an eerie glow through the thick fog, transforming the world into a dreamlike landscape. He was just considering grabbing a late dinner when a blinding flash erupted around him. For a fleeting moment, Zach thought he had been struck by lightning. His body tingled, every hair on his arm standing on end. Then, without warning, the world dissolved into a kaleidoscope of swirling colors. When the dizziness finally subsided, Zach found himself standing in an enormous, opulent hall. The space was alive with movement, filled with bizarre creatures of all shapes and sizes. Some had multiple limbs, while others sported shimmering scales or feathers. A few beings seemed to be composed entirely of light or shadow, their forms defying all earthly descriptions. "What the hell?" Zach whispered, his eyes wide with disbelief. A booming voice echoed through the chamber, silencing the crowd. "Esteemed guests of the Galactic Empire, welcome to Zenith." Zach's gaze was drawn to a towering figure seated upon a crystalline throne. The being had iridescent scales that shimmered in every color of the spectrum, its 6 arms moving gracefully as it spoke. Above its elongated head floated a crown of pulsing energy, casting a soft glow across the room. "I am Emperor Zoran," the creature continued, its voice resonating with authority. "You have been summoned here for a momentous occasion. As you know, our empire faces a dire threat. Our bloodline weakens with each generation. To ensure our survival, I have made an unprecedented decision." The Emperor's multifaceted eyes swept across the room, taking in the assembled crowd. "One of you will have the honor of marrying one of my daughters. The chosen suitor will become heir to the Galactic Empire." A wave of excited murmurs rippled through the guests, the implications of the Emperor's words sinking in. Zach's mind reeled, struggling to process the absurdity of the situation. He pinched himself, certain he must be dreaming. "Ouch," he hissed, confirming the painful reality. The Emperor gestured dramatically, drawing attention to 4 figures gliding forward from the shadows. Zach's breath caught in his throat as he beheld the most beautiful women he had ever seen. Their skin was a mesmerizing shade of emerald green, smooth and flawless, with delicate features that were accentuated by high cheekbones and full, shapely lips. Yet it was their eyes that truly captivated him, large, almond-shaped, and filled with an otherworldly radiance. "I present Princess Astra, Princess Lunara, Princess Nova, and Princess Celesta," Zoran announced, pride evident in his tone. Zach couldn't tear his gaze away. Despite their undeniably alien qualities, the princesses exuded an ethereal beauty that was both exotic and enchanting. However, as the assembled suitors began to approach the princesses, a wave of disgust swept through the crowd. One by one, they recoiled in horror, their faces twisted in expressions of revulsion. "Revolting, hideous creatures," one alien shouted. "I'd rather mate with a Snorlax beast." The insults flew thick and fast, but Zach watched in confusion as he turned back to the princesses. How could anyone find them repulsive? Then it hit him. By the standards of this bizarre gathering, the daughter's human-like appearance must be considered grotesque. Zach's heart ached for the 4 women, each wearing a mask of regal composure that barely concealed their pain. Before he could stop himself, he found himself stepping forward. "Hi there," he said, flashing a warm smile at the princess closest to him, Astra if he remembered correctly. "I'm Zach. It looks like the stars are playing hooky today. They've all gathered in your eyes instead." Astra's eyes widened in shock, a deeper emerald hue blooming across her cheeks. "You're speaking to me?" she asked, her voice hesitant, as if unsure of what to make of his compliment. Zach nodded, his smile broadening. "Of course. I'd be crazy not to want to talk to the most beautiful woman in the room." A collective gasp rose from the crowd, and even Emperor Zoran leaned forward, his 6 eyes focused intently on Zach. "You find my daughter attractive?" the Emperor asked, his tone a mix of disbelief and hope. Zach turned, suddenly aware of the attention surrounding him. "Ah, yes, Your Imperial Highness. They're all gorgeous. I mean, where I come from, green skin isn't exactly the norm, but wow, just wow." The youngest princess, Nova, stepped closer, her expression a mixture of fear and curiosity. "You're from Earth, aren't you?" she asked. "We've heard stories." Lunara nodded vigorously. "They say humans are savage beasts who devour anything in their path." Celesta added, her voice both fascinated and horrified, "and that you reproduce through your tongues." Zach couldn't help but laugh, shaking his head. "I promise I'm not going to eat anyone. As for the tongue thing, well, that's complicated." The princesses exchanged confused glances, their expressions a blend of curiosity and concern. Astra, emboldened by Zach's friendly demeanor, spoke up. "But it's true that humans have no proper mating cycles, that you're constantly in heat." Zach rubbed the back of his neck, feeling a blush creep up his face. "We don't really talk about that in public where I come from, but I can assure you, we're not sex-crazed maniacs, usually." A tense silence fell over the hall, only to be broken by Emperor Zoran's commanding voice. "Human, approach the throne." Zach swallowed hard, acutely aware of the hostile stares from the alien suitors as he walked forward. He stopped before the imposing figure of the Emperor, trying not to fidget. "You are an unexpected variable," Zoran mused. "Tell me, Earthling, what is your name and purpose here?" "Zach Ryder, Your Majesty," he replied, his voice steady despite the fluttering in his stomach. "Honestly, I have no idea how I got here. One minute, I'm walking in a park in Seattle, and the next, I'm here." The Emperor's eyes narrowed, curiosity glinting within their depths. "You claim to find my daughters beautiful, yet every other being here sees only repulsiveness. Explain." Zach took a deep breath. "Where I come from, your daughters would be considered incredibly attractive. The green skin is different, sure, but everything else, stunning. I don't know what these other guys are seeing, but I think they're out of their minds." A low murmur rippled through the crowd as Zoran leaned back, stroking his chin thoughtfully. "Perhaps this is the solution we've been seeking. A fresh perspective, new blood." He stood suddenly, his voice booming through the hall. "The contest continues, but now our human guest shall also be considered a potential suitor." Chaos erupted as alien dignitaries shouted protests, while others teleported away in disgust. Amidst the commotion, Zach found himself at the center of a storm of attention. Astra sidled up beside him, her expression a mix of gratitude and disbelief. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice soft. "No one has ever looked at us that way before. It's nice." Zach grinned, feeling a warmth in his chest. "Trust me, the pleasure is all mine. So, any chance you can show me where a guy can get a drink around here? I have a feeling I'm going to need one." Astra laughed, the sound like tinkling crystals. "Follow me, Zach of Earth. I believe this is the beginning of a very interesting friendship." As they slipped away from the pandemonium, Zach felt a thrill of excitement coursing through him. Sure, he had been abducted by aliens and thrust into some insane galactic bachelor contest, but with 4 gorgeous princesses by his side, maybe the universe had finally decided to cut him a break. Little did he know, the true challenges and adventures were only just beginning. The alien gala Zach followed Astra through the opulent halls of Zenith, the grandeur of the galactic empire enveloping him like a dream. The architecture was unlike anything he had ever seen on Earth. Walls of shimmering crystal refracted the light from floating orbs, creating an ethereal glow that illuminated the vast space. The air was thick with an aroma of exotic spices and sweet, floral scents that tingled at his senses. Each step they took echoed softly on the polished marble floor, amplifying the surreal nature of his surroundings. As they walked, Zach couldn't help but glance back at the great hall where the chaos had erupted. Alien dignitaries continued to bicker and shout, their voices rising in a cacophony of outrage and disbelief. He chuckled softly, realizing he was at the center of a conflict not of his making. "You guys really know how to throw a party," he remarked to Astra, trying to ease the tension he sensed building between them. Astra smiled, her emerald eyes sparkling with amusement. "This isn't a party, it's a royal gala. Every major event in the Empire is filled with political intrigue and expectations. Tonight is meant to celebrate unity among the various species of our galaxy." She paused, her expression turning serious. "But the contest for our hands has thrown everything into disarray." Zach nodded, sensing the weight of her words. He could see how this night, intended to forge alliances and strengthen bonds, had instead ignited tensions among the guests. "So you really have no say in who you marry?" he asked, curiosity tinged with sympathy. Astra sighed, her shoulders slumping slightly. "In our society, duty often comes before personal desires. My sisters and I understand the importance of our roles, but it doesn't make it any easier. We are expected to ensure the survival of our bloodline, but at what cost?" Her voice carried a hint of sadness, making Zach's heart ache for her. Just then, they arrived at a smaller chamber adorned with intricate tapestries depicting scenes of galactic history. Vibrant colors danced across the fabric, telling stories of triumphs and trials faced by the Empire. Astra gestured for Zach to enter, and he stepped through the arched doorway, suddenly aware of how much he had to learn about this strange world. Inside, the atmosphere shifted to one of intimacy. Soft cushions adorned the floor, and low tables were filled with a dazzling array of delicacies. "Welcome to the Star Chamber," Astra said, her tone lightening. "This is where we can escape the chaos outside. Please, help yourself." Zach hesitated for a moment, his apprehension fading as the aroma of the food wafted toward him. He approached the table, marveling at the vibrant colors and peculiar shapes of the dishes laid out before him. There were glowing fruits that pulsed with light, delicate pastries filled with shimmering cream, and steaming bowls of what looked like soup, but with swirling colors that defied description. "What is this?" he asked, picking up a fruit that glimmered like a gemstone. "That's a starfruit," Astra replied, watching him with a mix of curiosity and amusement. "It's one of our favorites. Just bite into it, and you'll understand." With a nod, Zach took a cautious bite. The flavor exploded in his mouth, sweet and tart, with a hint of something floral. "Wow, that's incredible," he exclaimed, his eyes widening in surprise. "You guys really know how to do food." Astra chuckled, her laughter filling the chamber with warmth. "We take pride in our cuisine. It reflects the diversity of our cultures. Each planet in the Empire has its own specialties. You should try the moon pies next." Zach picked up one of the pastries and took a bite. The delicate layers melted in his mouth, the filling bursting with flavor that danced on his taste buds. "This is amazing," he declared, grinning from ear to ear. As they feasted, Zach couldn't shake the feeling that he was an outsider in this bizarre but fascinating world. Astra, sensing his lingering apprehension, leaned closer. "You know, I've never met a human before. Our kind has always been told you are savage and unrefined, yet you are different." "What do you mean?" he asked, genuinely intrigued. "You speak with kindness, and your eyes reflect a depth of understanding that many of our suitors lack," Astra said, her gaze steady. "It is refreshing to have someone here who sees us for who we truly are, rather than as mere trophies in a competition." Zach felt a warmth spread through his chest. I can't imagine being judged solely on appearances, especially when it's so clear how amazing you all are beneath the surface. You shouldn't have to prove your worth to anyone." Astra's expression softened, and for a moment, the weight of her royal duties seemed to lift. "Thank you, Zach. It means more than you know. But it's not just about us. The future of our empire hangs in the balance, and each choice we make could have far-reaching consequences." Before Zach could respond, the sound of hurried footsteps interrupted their moment. The door swung open, and in rushed Princess Nova, her face flushed with excitement. "Astra, you won't believe what just happened." "What is it, Nova?" Astra asked, concern flickering across her features. "The Senate is in an uproar. They're debating the merits of allowing a human to compete in the suitor contest. Some say it's an affront to tradition." Nova's voice trembled with urgency. Zach felt a chill run down his spine. "Is that bad?" he asked, glancing between the two princesses. "Bad doesn't begin to describe it," Astra replied, her brows furrowing in worry. "If they decide to dismiss you as a potential suitor, it could lead to a complete breakdown of negotiations with Earth. Our father is counting on us to secure a strong alliance. Then we need to change their minds," Zach said, determination igniting within him. "What can I do to help?" The princesses exchanged a look of surprise, then Astra smiled, a flicker of hope lighting her eyes. "Your willingness to stand with us means a great deal, Zach. Perhaps your perspective could be the key to swaying the Senate." With newfound resolve, Zach nodded. "Let's do it. I may not know much about galactic politics, but I'm not going to stand by while you all are treated like pawns in a game. You deserve a say in your future." Nova's face lit up with a smile. "You really think you can help us? It's been so long since anyone stood up for us like this." "Absolutely," Zach replied, excitement bubbling within him. "But I'll need your guidance. This is your world after all. How do we make our case?" Astra's expression shifted to one of determination. "We'll need to gather support from the other factions in the Empire. Many of them might see the value in having a human as part of our royal family. A fresh perspective could strengthen our position against the threats we face." Nova nodded, her enthusiasm contagious. "Let's show them that humans can be just as noble and intelligent as any alien species. We'll need to hold a gathering where you can speak to the leaders of the Senate. If you can present your case, it could sway them to see you not as a threat, but as an ally." Zach's heart raced at the prospect. The thought of standing before a group of powerful beings, pleading his case, was both exhilarating and terrifying. But looking at the two princesses, he felt a sense of purpose. "All right, let's do it. What's our first step?" "First, we must prepare," Astra said, her voice steady and confident. "We need to gather information about the Senate members, their interests and their concerns. Understanding their motivations will be key to convincing them." Zach grinned, excitement bubbling within him. "I'm ready. Let's show them that the human spirit is not to be underestimated." As they strategized and discussed their plan, a sense of camaraderie began to form. Zach felt a bond growing between them, one that transcended their differences and united them in a common goal. Together, they would challenge the status quo, fighting not just for Astra and her sisters, but for a future where humans and aliens could coexist and thrive. Little did they know, their journey would test their resolve in ways they had never imagined, pushing the boundaries of friendship, love, and what it truly meant to belong in a universe filled with both wonders and dangers. The fate of the Galactic Empire hung in the balance, and Zach was determined to play his part, no matter the odds stacked against them. The gathering storm. With a renewed sense of purpose, Zach, Astra, and Nova began their preparations for the upcoming gathering with the Senate. The Star Chamber buzzed with energy as they plotted their strategy, each moment bringing them closer to a confrontation that could change the course of their lives, and the fate of the Galactic Empire forever. "First, we need to understand who we're dealing with," Astra said, pacing thoughtfully across the colorful tapestries. "The Senate is composed of representatives from various species, each with their own culture and interests. If we can appeal to their motivations, we might sway their opinions in our favor. Zach leaned against one of the low tables, contemplating her words. What do they care about? What are their main concerns? He was eager to contribute, his mind racing with ideas as he thought about what could resonate with these powerful beings. Nova, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm, flipped through a data pad filled with holographic images and profiles of the Senate members. Here are the key players, she said, tapping the screen. Senator Varlox of the Nectorians is a staunch traditionalist. He'll likely oppose any changes to our customs. Senator Talia of the Solari is more progressive. She values innovation and might be receptive to a human perspective. Good to know, Zach replied, leaning closer to examine the holograms. What about the others? Senator Drakon of the Varkari is focused on military strength, Astra interjected, her voice steady. He might see the value in having a human who can bring new strategies to our defense. Then there's Senator Alira of the Philixians. She values diplomacy above all else and may advocate for a peaceful alliance. Zach absorbed the information, his mind wearing. So it sounds like we need to craft a message that speaks to each of them individually. But how do we do that? I'm just a guy from Earth, and I have no idea how galactic politics works. Astra smiled, her confidence bolstering his own. That's where we come in. We'll help you prepare your speech. We can provide you with cultural context and insight into their values. But more importantly, you need to be yourself. Speak from the heart and share your own experiences as a human. Authenticity resonates more than any political tactic. Zach nodded, feeling the weight of their trust in him. All right, let's do this. But we'll need to work fast. When is this gathering happening? It's scheduled for tomorrow evening, Nova said, her tone a mix of excitement and urgency. We'll need to get everything ready by then. Then we'd better get to work, Zach replied, rolling up his sleeves. The time for action had come. As they delved into the preparations, Zach found himself surrounded by a whirlwind of ideas and energy. The princesses brought out their collection of historical documents, notes, and artifacts, each telling a story of their people's struggles and triumphs. They spent hours discussing tactics, crafting speeches, and practicing how to address the Senate with the confidence of a leader. Remember, Zach, Astra emphasized during one of their rehearsals, your perspective as a human is unique. The Senate members have never truly understood the value of our alliance with your species. You can show them how humans have faced their own challenges and how those experiences can enrich our empire. Zach took a deep breath, the weight of their expectations heavy upon him. I'll do my best. I just hope they're willing to listen. I mean, they might see me as just a novelty or a threat to their traditions. Then we'll show them your Mather, Nova replied, determination in her voice. We will remind them that strength comes in many forms, through innovation, courage, and the willingness to adapt. As the night wore on, the trio rehearsed until their voices grew hoarse. They shared stories of their worlds, hopes, and dreams, solidifying their bond. Laughter echoed through the star chamber, a welcome reprieve from the tension that had hung in the air. Eventually, the time for rest came, and they settled into their makeshift sleeping quarters. Zach lay awake, staring up at the softly glowing ceiling, pondering the path ahead. The enormity of the task ahead weighed heavily on him. Would he be able to make a difference? The following day dawned bright and vibrant, a stark contrast to the tension Zach felt within. After a hearty breakfast filled with the exquisite flavors of Zenith, they donned their finest attire. Astra and Nova adorned themselves in flowing gowns that shimmered like starlight, their emerald skin glowing beautifully in the morning light. Zach, feeling somewhat out of place, had opted for a simple yet polished outfit, dark trousers, and a sleek shirt that the princesses had provided him. You look great, Nova said, her enthusiasm infectious. You'll fit right in with the Senate members. Yeah, if they're used to seeing humans in royal gatherings, Zach replied, nervously adjusting his collar. What if they throw tomatoes at me? Then we'll catch them and throw them back, Astra quipped, her laughter easing his anxiety. The time for the gathering drew near, and the atmosphere grew thick with anticipation. Zat felt his heart race as they approached the grand chamber where the Senate would convene. "What if they don't take me seriously?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "They will," Astra assured him, her expression steady. "We believe in you, Zach. Just remember to speak with passion. Show them the resilience of humanity." With a deep breath, Zach nodded. He stepped into the grand hall, a majestic space filled with representatives from across the galaxy. The ceilings soared high above, and intricate murals depicted the history of the Empire. The room buzzed with chatter, the clinking of glasses, and the rustling of ornate garments. As they entered, all eyes turned toward them. The Senate members, a diverse group of beings ranging from towering insectoids to small, furry creatures, fell silent. Zat could feel their gazes penetrating him, assessing him as an outsider, a human interloper. Emperor Zoran stood at the head of the chamber, his iridescent scales shimmering in the light. He raised a hand, signaling for silence. "Esteemed members of the Senate," he began, his voice booming. "Today, we gather not only to discuss the future of our empire, but to welcome a new voice, Zach Ryder, a human from Earth who has shown great courage in stepping forward to present his case." A murmur rippled through the crowd, a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Zat felt his heart pound in his chest. This is it, he thought, trying to steady his nerves. As he stepped forward, Astra and Nova flanked him, their presence lending him strength. "Thank you, Your Majesty, esteemed senators," Zach began, his voice stronger than he felt. "I stand before you today, not just as a human, but as a representative of a species that has faced great challenges and has continually risen to meet them." He paused, gauging the reaction from the Senate. Some members leaned in, intrigued, while others bore expressions of indifference. "Humans are not without our flaws. We have made mistakes. War, conflict, and division are part of our history. But through those struggles, we have learned the value of resilience, innovation, and the importance of working together." Zat drew on his experiences, sharing stories of human perseverance, cooperation, and the power of diversity. He spoke passionately about the alliances forged on Earth, the way different cultures had come together to face common challenges. "Just as your empire stands united in its diversity, we too have found strength in our differences." He could see a flicker of interest among some of the senators, their eyes widening as they began to understand the parallels he was drawing. "I believe that by embracing new perspectives, such as those offered by humans, we can enhance our ability to adapt and thrive in an ever-changing universe. Imagine the possibilities of a true alliance between our peoples. Together, we could face any threat that comes our way." The chamber was silent as he finished his speech, the weight of his words hanging in the air. Zat felt his heart racing, the adrenaline coursing through him as he awaited their response. Would they accept him? Would they see the potential in what he was proposing? Emperor Zoran stepped forward, his 6 eyes fixed on Zach. "Your words have resonated, young human. They speak of hope and possibility. But the Senate must deliberate. We will hear from each member regarding your proposal." Zach nodded, his chest swelling with cautious optimism. As the senators began to voice their opinions, he listened intently, absorbing their thoughts and concerns. Some were enthusiastic, recognizing the value of a human perspective, while others remained entrenched in tradition, wary of the changes Zap's presence could bring. It became clear to Zat that the path ahead would not be easy. The debate was fierce, filled with passionate arguments and counter-arguments. The tension in the room grew palpable as the fate of the proposal hung in the balance. But Zat remained resolute. He had taken the first step toward bridging the gap between worlds, and no matter the outcome, he knew he had made a difference. Together with Astra and Nova, he was forging a new path, a path that could lead to understanding and collaboration between their peoples. As the gathering continued, Zat felt the energy shift. With every passionate exchange, he sensed the tides turning, and he held on to hope that he was not just a mere pawn in a cosmic game, but a catalyst for change, a human whose spirit could inspire a new era of unity and strength. An unlikely alliance. The atmosphere in the Senate chamber crackled with tension as the debate raged on, each senator voicing their opinions with increasing fervor. Zach stood at the center of it all, flanked by Princess Astra and Princess Nova, the weight of their hopes resting heavily on his shoulders. The arguments had shifted from skepticism to enthusiasm, but the path forward remained fraught with challenges. As the senators exchanged heated words, Zach felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. This is it, he thought, glancing at Astra and Nova. They stood steadfast beside him, their expressions a blend of hope and anxiety. He had seen glimpses of what could be, a future where humans and aliens work together, sharing knowledge and experience for the greater good of both species. Emperor Zoran raised his hand, silencing the chamber once more. "Esteemed senators," he began, his voice echoing through the hall, "we have heard from our human guest, Zach Ryder, and now we must decide how to proceed. It is vital that we consider the implications of allowing a human to compete for the hand of my daughters and the potential alliances that may follow." Zach's heart raced as he listened. Compete was a loaded term, laden with the expectations of not just a personal union, but of political significance. Would they see him as a bridge between their worlds, or merely as a novelty to be dismissed? Senator Varlox of the Nepturians, his voice booming with authority, stood to address the assembly. "This is madness. Allowing a human to vie for royal status undermines our traditions. What do we know of these creatures? Their world is fraught with conflict, and their history is marred by strife. Are we truly willing to stake our future on such a gamble?" A wave of murmurs swept through the chamber, and Zach felt a knot tighten in his stomach. Astra leaned closer, whispering, "We need to counter his arguments with reason. Highlight the strengths of human resilience and ingenuity. You've got this." Taking a deep breath, Zach stepped forward. "Senator Varlox, I understand your concerns, but let me share a piece of human history that may shed light on our capability for change." He recounted the story of Earth's own struggles, how nations once divided had learned the value of cooperation in the face of global threats. During times of crisis, humanity has demonstrated a remarkable ability to unite and innovate. "We have learned that our diversity is our strength. Just as your empire faces threats from outside, we too have faced challenges that have required us to come together in unexpected ways." As he spoke, he noticed some senators nodding, their skepticism beginning to melt away in the warmth of his narrative. "By integrating our perspectives, we can enhance each other's capabilities. Imagine a future where our species collaborate to tackle issues like resource scarcity, environmental challenges, and even intergalactic security." Senator Talia of the Solari stood next, her fiery spirit palpable. "Zach speaks the truth. We must not forget that innovation comes from the meeting of diverse minds. Perhaps a human hair could bring forth new ideas and strategies that we have yet to consider." Her support sparked a new wave of discussion among the senators. Varlox scowled, but others began to see the potential in what Zach was proposing. Senator Elira of the Philixians, known for her diplomatic prowess, raised her voice next. "If we close ourselves off to the possibilities that come from this union, we risk stagnation. A human alliance could be our key to adaptability and resilience in the face of uncertainty." Zach felt a swell of hope as more voices chimed in, echoing the need for unity and collaboration. The tide was turning, but he knew they weren't out of the woods yet. He took a step back, allowing the senators to debate further, keenly aware of the precarious nature of the moment. As discussions continued, Astra and Nova exchanged glances filled with determination. "If we can sway enough senators to support this alliance, it could pave the way for a stronger future," Astra whispered, her eyes glinting with excitement. After what felt like hours, the debate began to wind down. Zoran turned to the assembly, his voice authoritative yet inviting. "Let us take a vote. Weigh the pros and cons of allowing a human to compete for the hand of my daughters. Let us decide whether we will embrace change or cling to the old ways. Zach felt his pulse quicken as he awaited the outcome. Would they see the value in this unconventional alliance, or would tradition prevail? One by one, senators raised their hands. The murmurs faded as they voted, and the atmosphere hung thick with anticipation. When the final count was revealed, the room erupted into a mix of cheers and protests. The majority favors allowing Zach Ryder to compete for the hand of the royal daughters. Zoran declared, his voice ringing with triumph. A wave of exhilaration washed over Zach. He had done it. He had opened a door that had previously been closed. As the senators erupted into a chaotic mix of celebration and disagreement, Astra and Nova rushed to Zach's side. "You did it," Nova exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with joy. "This is just the beginning." "Thank you, both of you," Zach replied, still in disbelief. "I couldn't have done this without your support." But the celebration was short-lived. From the back of the chamber, Senator Varlox rose to his feet, his expression dark. "This is a grave mistake. We are risking our future for the whims of a species that cannot be trusted. If we proceed down this path, we are inviting chaos into our midst." The atmosphere shifted abruptly, tension re-entering the room. Zach's heart sank as he sensed the divide deepening. Varlox's words hung heavily in the air, causing unease to ripple through the assembly. Zoran, maintaining his composure, addressed the dissent. "This is a time for unity, not division. We must work together to forge a path forward. We will not let fear dictate our choices." With that, the Emperor turned to Zach, his expression one of cautious hope. "Zach, the Senate has decided you may compete for the hand of my daughters. But know this, the road ahead will be fraught with challenges, and your every move will be scrutinized. You must earn the respect of our people and prove that this alliance can thrive." "I understand," Zach replied, steeling himself for what lay ahead. "I won't let you down. I'm committed to showing everyone that this alliance can work." With a nod of approval from Zoran, the tension began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of possibility. Yet in the shadows, Zach could feel the weight of the opposition lingering, a reminder that not everyone was on board with this new direction. As the gathering began to disperse, Astra and Nova clasped Zach's hands. "This is just the beginning," Astra said, her voice firm. "We will work together to prove that our alliance is beneficial for everyone." "Agreed," Nova added, determination shining in her eyes. "We'll prepare for the next steps, and together, we'll show them that this union can bring strength to both our worlds." Zach smiled, feeling a swell of hope. "I'm ready for whatever comes next. If we can face it together, I know we'll succeed." As they exited the chamber, Zach couldn't shake the feeling that the true test of their alliance was just beginning. He had opened a door to a world of possibilities, but he also felt the shadows of doubt creeping in. Would they be able to navigate the complexities of their new alliance, or would the ghosts of tradition threaten to tear them apart? The challenges ahead loomed large, but with Astra and Nova by his side, Zach felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were embarking on a journey that would test their resilience, creativity, and the strength of their newfound bond. Together, they would face whatever lay ahead, forging a path toward a brighter future for both humanity and the Galactic Empire. Little did they know, the true adventures were just beginning. Trials of the heart. The atmosphere in Zenith shifted dramatically after the Senate's vote, a mixture of excitement and apprehension filling the air. Zach felt a wave of adrenaline coursing through him. He had taken the first step toward an alliance that could change the future of both humans and the Galactic Empire. But the cheers of celebration were quickly met with whispers of dissent, reminding him that not everyone welcomed the idea of a human suitor. Zach, Astra, and Nova gathered in the Star Chamber once more, their minds buzzing with plans for the next phase of their journey. The princesses wore expressions of determination, their eyes reflecting the hope that Zach had ignited in the Senate. But beneath that hope lay a current of uncertainty that Zach couldn't ignore. "We need to prepare for the competition," Astra said, her tone firm. Each of the suitors will have their own unique strengths, and we must ensure you stand out. Right, but how does a human compete against alien beings with centuries of experience in intergalactic courtship? Zat replied, rubbing the back of his neck, feeling the weight of expectation. Nova stepped forward, her enthusiasm infectious. You have something that they don't, a fresh perspective and an unyielding spirit. Use that to your advantage. Emphasize your creativity and your ability to adapt. Show them that love and partnership can take many forms and that our worlds can complement each other. Astra nodded, a smile creeping onto her lips. Exactly. We can't ignore the fact that many of these suitors come from traditional backgrounds. They might not understand the dynamics of a human relationship. Use your experiences from Earth to illustrate how love transcends appearances and cultural barriers. As the three of them brainstormed ideas, Zat felt a growing sense of purpose. Okay, so if I'm going to compete, I need to know what the competition looks like. Who am I up against? Astra pulled up a holographic display showing the profiles of the other suitors, each one a unique representation of their species. These are the primary contenders, she explained, her fingers gliding across the images. There's Corvin, a warrior from the Galaxian race, fierce and strong, known for his bravery in battle. Then there's Alien, a charming diplomat from the Elvari who can sway the minds of any crowd with his words. And finally, we have Myla, a brilliant scientist from the Amarian people, renowned for her intellect and innovation. Zak took in the information, feeling both intimidated and inspired. So, I'm up against a warrior, a diplomat, and a genius. Great. Just your average guy from Earth standing against them. Don't sell yourself short, Nova said, her voice steady. While they may have experience, you have the advantage of being genuine. These candidates may be more skilled in the art of courtship, but you possess authenticity. It's what makes you relatable, and that could resonate with the Senate more than you realize. Zak felt a renewed determination. All right then, let's formulate a plan. I want to highlight what makes human relationships unique, our ability to love fiercely and genuinely, despite our flaws. The three spent hours devising a strategy, planning how Zat would present himself during the competition and what stories he could share to connect with the audience. They rehearsed his speech, refining his words to strike the right balance between humor and sincerity. Zat even practiced his charm, learning to smile and engage with the crowd, drawing on his experiences working at the coffee shop to understand how to connect with people. As the sun set over Zenith, casting golden rays through the towering crystalline structures, Zat felt a sense of camaraderie growing among the trio. They shared laughter, jokes, and stories about their worlds, each moment strengthening the bond they had forged in the face of adversity. But as the day of the competition drew closer, Zat couldn't shake the feeling that he was stepping into the unknown. The night before the event, he found himself wandering the quiet corridors of the palace, the weight of uncertainty pressing heavily on his mind. He stopped before a large window that overlooked the sprawling city of Zenith. The lights twinkled like stars against the night sky, illuminating the alien architecture that blended nature and technology in a mesmerizing dance. As he gazed out, he contemplated the enormity of what lay ahead. What if I fail? He whispered to himself. What if they see me as just a novelty, or worse, as a mistake? As if sensing his turmoil, Astra approached silently, standing beside him. You're deep in thought, she observed gently, her voice soothing. What troubles you? Zak sighed, running a hand through his hair. I just can't help but wonder if I'm really cut out for this. Competing for the hand of a princess in a galaxy full of experienced suitors, it feels overwhelming. Astra turned to him, her expression earnest. I believe in you, Zach. You've already shown courage by standing up to the Senate and challenging their perceptions. This next step is just as important. Remember, it's not about winning a contest. It's about forging a genuine connection and showing them that humanity has something valuable to offer. Her words struck a chord within him, igniting a spark of hope. You're right, he said, straightening his shoulders. I can't focus on the competition. I need to focus on what I can bring to the table. Exactly, Astra replied, her eyes filled with encouragement. And don't forget, you have allies. We will be with you every step of the way, and together, we will show them what our alliance can achieve. With a grateful smile, Zach nodded, feeling the weight of his doubts begin to lift. Thank you, Astra. Your support means more than you know. As the evening unfolded, Zach and Astra shared stories about their lives, laughter echoing through the halls as they bonded over their shared dreams and aspirations. The connection they formed deepened, and for a moment, the uncertainty of the competition faded into the background. The following day dawned with a renewed sense of purpose. As Zach prepared for the competition, he donned an outfit that made him feel both comfortable and confident, a blend of traditional Earth attire with a few galactic touches that Astra had helped him select. He wanted to present himself as an ambassador of humanity, showing respect for the traditions of the Galactic Empire while staying true to his roots. Arriving at the arena, Zach felt the energy pulsing through the crowd. Spectators from various species filled the stands, their unique features and colorful garb creating a vibrant tapestry of life. Astra and Nova stood nearby, their expressions filled with encouragement as they waved at him from the sidelines. Just remember what we practiced, Nova called out, her voice cutting through the noise. Be yourself. With a deep breath, Zach stepped into the arena, the bright lights illuminating him as the crowd's chatter faded into silence. He scanned the audience, taking in the sea of curious faces. The Empress and senators were seated at the front, their expressions a mix of skepticism and anticipation. Welcome to the contest of hearts, the announcer boomed, his voice echoing through the arena. Today, we witness a unique competition unlike any other in the history of the Galactic Empire. Our esteemed candidates will showcase their abilities to win the hearts of the royal daughters and demonstrate the strengths of their respective cultures. The crowd erupted in cheers, and Zach felt a rush of adrenaline. He stepped forward as the first suitor, Corvin, took the stage. The Galaxian warrior presented a display of strength, showcasing his prowess in combat with a series of impressive maneuvers that drew awe from the crowd. Next up was Elian, the Elvari diplomat, who captivated the audience with his eloquence, discussing the importance of unity and cooperation among species. The audience responded enthusiastically, and Zach felt the pressure mounting. Would he be able to match the level of performance set by these experienced competitors? Finally, it was his turn. As he approached the center of the arena, Zach took a deep breath, focusing on the message he wanted to convey. This is it, he thought. Just be honest. Be yourself. Greetings, esteemed senators and citizens of the Galactic Empire. Zach began, his voice steady. I stand before you as a human, representing a species that has faced its own trials and tribulations. But I am here not just to compete, but to share a story of love, resilience, and the beauty of connection that transcends boundaries. As he spoke, Zach shared anecdotes from his own life, his experiences of friendship, love, and the importance of community. He emphasized how humanity thrived on relationships and the bonds forged through shared experiences. He spoke passionately about the challenges Earth had faced and how they had united in times of crisis, showcasing the strength found in diversity. Throughout his speech, he could see the senators and audience members leaning in, their expressions shifting from skepticism to intrigue. He felt their attention, their curiosity piqued by the authenticity he brought to the stage. I believe that love knows no boundaries, he continued, his heart racing as he shared a story about his own journey of acceptance and connection with others. It is the thread that binds us all, regardless of our differences. We can learn from one another, grow together, and create a future where our worlds coexist in harmony. As he finished his speech, the crowd erupted into applause, a wave of sound that washed over him. The warmth of their acceptance filled him with exhilaration. He had done it. He had shown them the value of humanity through the lens of genuine connection. But the competition was far from over. Zach knew that winning the hearts of the princesses would require more than just a speech. He would need to engage with them personally to build a connection that went beyond words. As the other suitors took their turns, he focused on finding opportunities to interact with Astra and Nova to show them the genuine bond he was hoping to create. After the formal presentations concluded, the contestants were invited to engage in a series of challenges designed to test their compatibility with the princesses. Zach's heart raced as he prepared for the next phase, knowing that every interaction counted. The first challenge involved teamwork and problem-solving, where suitors had to collaborate with the princesses to solve a complex puzzle. As Zach joined Astra at their station, he felt the electricity between them grow. Together, they worked seamlessly, combining their ideas to devise a solution. "I never thought I'd be solving puzzles with a human," Astra joked, her laughter lightening the mood. "But I have to admit, you've got some clever ideas." "I guess we're a pretty good team," Zach replied, smiling back at her. "It's all about communication, right?" As they worked together, Zach realized that their connection was deepening. With every shared smile, every moment of laughter, he could feel a bond forming that transcended the competition. Astra's eyes sparkled with excitement, and Zach felt a rush of confidence as he navigated the challenges. The second challenge required creativity, where the suitors had to present a gift to the princesses that symbolized their home cultures. Zach's heart raced as he thought about what to create. He wanted to present something that encapsulated not only Earth, but also his journey so far. Drawing inspiration from his experiences, he gathered materials available in the arena: shimmering stones, vibrant plants, and artifacts from various cultures. With Astra and Nova's encouragement, he fashioned a small, intricate piece of art that depicted a tree, its roots intertwining with various symbols representing different cultures from Earth and the Galactic Empire. As he presented it to Astra and Nova, he explained, "This tree represents growth, connection, and the strength of unity. Just as trees intertwine their roots to support one another, so too can our worlds come together to create something beautiful." Astra's eyes lit up with appreciation as she admired his creation. "This is incredible, Zach. It embodies everything we're trying to achieve," she exclaimed, her enthusiasm evident. Zach's heart soared, knowing he had struck a chord, but he also felt the pressure building as the final challenges approached, and he could sense the stakes rising with each passing moment. The last challenge involved a test of courage. Suitors were asked to confront their fears in front of the audience. As the challenge commenced, Zach felt a wave of anxiety wash over him. "What if I fail?" he thought, his stomach knotting at the thought of stumbling in front of the crowd. But then he remembered Astra's words, "Be yourself." Drawing strength from their connection, he stepped forward, ready to face whatever lay ahead. As he took his place, the arena fell silent, the weight of expectation heavy in the air. He could feel the eyes of the crowd upon him, their gazes filled with anticipation. In that moment, he realized that his greatest fear wasn't about failing in front of them. It was about letting down the princesses who believed in him. With that realization, he spoke from his heart. "I fear what lies ahead for our worlds if we fail to embrace change," he admitted, his voice steady. "I fear that we will miss the chance to create something beautiful, to unite our strengths and build a future together." The audience listened intently as he shared his vulnerability, his words resonating with the crowd. "But I also believe that fear can be a powerful motivator. It drives us to grow, to learn, and to connect. So, instead of shying away from my fears, I choose to confront them and embrace the possibilities that come with change." As he finished speaking, the crowd erupted into applause, and Zach felt a rush of exhilaration. He had faced his fears, and in doing so, he had connected with the audience on a deeper level. As the challenges came to an end, Zach stood beside Astra and Nova, both of them beaming with pride. They had faced the trials together, building a bond that went beyond competition. Zach knew that regardless of the outcome, he had forged connections that would last a lifetime. As the sun set over Zenith, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Zach realized that he had found something invaluable in this journey: friendship, love, and the hope of a brighter future. Together, They would continue to navigate the complexities of their worlds, united in their pursuit of connection and understanding. But as the night approached, he couldn't shake the feeling that the real trials were yet to come. With the competition nearing its conclusion, Zach braced himself for whatever challenges lay ahead, determined to fight for the future he envisioned, for himself, for Astra, and for the entire galactic empire.